Hi, let's start today's video with a story. So the other day I was at our local community college, and they'd actually asked me to come in as a subject matter expert on what somebody needs to know today if they're graduating with an associate's degree to get started in a career in marketing as like a marketing specialist was the title that we identified. Like what is the fundamental skill set that whether you're going to step into an agency or you're going to step into a small business or even a big business and help with marketing, what's that fundamental skill set that you need to know? And the whole process was great. But one of the things that jumped out at me, they asked as part of the process was, like, what are the big trends that are really shaping marketing today? What are the big trends that are changing the way that the entire business works? And it's worth noting here that I was probably the most direct marketing oriented, like response. Your marketing has to generate response oriented. And there were people kind of on the other side of the spectrum who come from an agency background who their primary background in marketing and advertising is that the advertising has to look good. It has to represent the brand well. It has to have a good impression, that sort of thing. So they had a wide swath of people. But when I mention this as one of the big trends that's driving marketing going forward, everybody in the room immediately agreed with me. And that is that everything in marketing today, especially with the digitization of everything. I mean, marketing on your phones and marketing on your computers and marketing on your smart TVs and marketing everywhere. It's all tracked and trackable. And there's so much data that is available, analytics, that is driving marketing decisions that if you are not able to justify your marketing with data, you're actually not going to survive as a marketer. And so you really have to understand the data that's out there, what that data is telling you, and how that impacts your marketing decisions. And so that's what I'm going to talk about in today's video. Specifically, I'm going to talk about that in relation to a book that's almost 100 years old and how it predicted this trend, how it was before its time, but also how this book is becoming even more relevant today than ever before. So if you like this video, be sure that you like the video using the functionality below the player. Make sure you also comment, what's your reaction to what I'm telling you. Also share it if other people would find it valuable, and feel free to subscribe to me here so that you can get more videos like this, more content like this delivered to you as a subscriber. So with that, let's dive in. So the book in reference, the book that I've been thinking about is actually, it's the second book in this double feature. And if you look in the description of this video, I have a link to where you can buy the physical book online. Also, I actually recorded for myself, I recorded an audiobook of the scientific advertising portion of this. And that's what I want to talk about. But I recorded that audiobook and I give it away at freescientificadvertising.com. So if you'd like to go to, the link's in the description, but if you'd like to go to freescientificadvertising.com, you can get a free PDF of the book, as well as me in my wonderful voice reading to you Scientific Advertising by Claude Hopkins. So scientific advertising, it is Chapter 2, where Claude Hopkins says that advertising is just salesmanship. He says, advertising is salesmanship. Its principles are the principles of salesmanship. Successes and failures in both lines are due to like causes. Thus, every advertising question should be answered by the salesman's standards. Now, that is by far the fundamental, most important principle in scientific advertising. And what he then goes about doing is explaining that advertising should be measured, and it should be measured on the success of the advertising as salesmanship? Does it generate the results expected? And then where do you learn advertising? You learn advertising from the people who've been tracking results. Now, that's the funny thing to me, having this conversation with these people who are brand advertisers who used to like create billboards and charge clients a fortune for it. And the clients would never know if the billboard did anything. Same thing with TV ads and with pretty much any other advertising they created. Well, basically for nearly 100 years after the first publication of scientific advertising, these people were able to create advertising that was based on image, based on branding by whatever vague meaning, based on, did the people, here's the key, did the people around the boardroom table who were making the advertising decision, did those people like the advertising? Did those people feel like they could take this advertisement home and show it to their family and show it to their friends? And based on the reaction of their family and friends, is this a good advertisement or not? And that's how advertising decisions were made. Even for decades and decades after scientific advertising was first published, after Claude Hopkins died, like that's how advertising happened. And then along came this truth-telling beast called the internet, where suddenly all of our behavior is tracked. Now, consumer privacy advocates hate that, but I'll tell you what, advertisers love it, because when you can track behavior tied to an advertisement, you can actually figure out what the heck works and what doesn't work, what succeeds, what doesn't succeed, what is an effective advertisement and what is just trash. and you can make your advertising decisions based on that data. And so suddenly, 100 years later, there is brand new relevance in scientific advertising and what it teaches. Now, the language still feels 100 years old, but the principle that advertising should be tested scientifically, it should be measured based on measurable business results. Is it generating more leads, customers, sales, profits? Which advertising generates the best? Where can we learn advertising? All of these principles are still and now even more relevant than ever before, because the data that the internet provides forces advertising, forces advertisers, forces advertising creators, forces marketing specialists to create advertising that is actually generating results, that is actually accountable to this definition. Now, the updated definition that I like to give from Claude Hopkins is that advertising is sales multiplied through media. He said salesmanship and print. Of course, the internet's not printed anymore. It's bits and bytes, right? But it's sales multiplied through media. And it should be measured based on that standard. And it's a really funny way that he ended scientific advertising, because it was like a prophecy that was almost 100 years before its time. He said, "Only 1 hour ago, an old advertising man said to the writer, 'The day for our type is done. Bunk has lost its power. Sophistry is being displaced by actuality, and I tremble at the trend. So do hundreds tremble. Enormous advertising is being done along scientific lines. Its success is come in knowledge. Advertisers along other lines will not much longer be content. We who can meet the test welcome these changed conditions. Advertisers will multiply when they see that advertising can be safe and sure. Small expenditures made on a guess will grow to big ones on a certainty. Our line of business will be finer, cleaner, and when the gamble is removed, and we shall be prouder of it when we are judged on merit.'" And so with that, I will say that as we were talking about what somebody who's a marketing specialist needs to know, the things that a marketing specialist need to know today go well beyond design and copywriting. It's how do you look at campaign data? How do you analyze campaign data? How do you figure out if this campaign is a success or not? How do you conduct scientific marketing experiments where you're able to test, you're able to split test advertisement A versus advertisement B, which does best? How do you develop campaigns that are really designed to maximize ROI? How do you do all of these things that direct marketers have been continually innovating since the days of Claude Hopkins, but now that's being brought to the mainstream? And from that fundamental recognition that, hey, there's so much data out there that you can't not be a direct marketer today. You cannot be a marketer who is unwilling to be accountable to the results that you generate. I actually find that scientific advertising is more relevant than ever. And so again, I would encourage you, you can actually go to freescientificadvertising.com. The link is below this video, or you can click the link to get the book from Amazon below this video, and you can pick up your own copies of Scientific Advertising by Claude Hopkins, and you can dig deep into it and see all the lessons that he taught based on even back in the days where it was very early direct mail and print advertisement. If we track things scientifically, if we test things scientifically, what kind of results can we get and what can we learn? So again, Scientific Advertising by Claude Hopkins, strongly recommended. If you like this, if you agree, if you believe in results accountable marketing, make sure you also like this video, comment, share your experience, and share the video as well with other people who might find it valuable, and make sure that you're also subscribed to me here. Now, I'm on a bigger mission to help entrepreneurs and other high achievers live happier, healthier, and more prosperous lives. And so if that sounds like you, if that feels like you, make sure, again, that you're subscribed so that you can get more content from me going forward. So with that, I'm Roy Furr. This has been a video issue of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets, and I look forward to seeing you again in our next video. Bye.